Hello everyone, Tanak here. Welcome to episode 129 of Building My Industrial Empire in EVE Online. Let's start with the progress report. As you can see, my net worth plus that of the corporation is now at 313 billion HISC. So if you look here at the tracker is kind of messed up because it's bigger than last week from what I have, so or else something is wrong. Anyway, you can see it here more on the other graph here. You can see that I'm at there's a big progression, like 11 million progression compared to last week, but seriously, I think it's a glitch again. Jeeves' asset is kind of weird because Tanak has a big progression, like 12 billion progression, and I didn't make 12 billion this week. Clearly, I made about I couldn't have made maybe a billion ratting, and not even that, so shouldn't have climbed that much, and I didn't get any big influx of money or stuff like that. So I'm guessing that it's the skill point value, because Erica, who I basically just play as the CEO of a procurement division, climbed by 3 billion, and I know for sure she didn't earn any money, so I'm guessing that it probably valued the skill point a little more than it used to. But anyway, that's just a tendency, an indicator, long-term indicator. It is the first week of the month, so it is the time where we pay our SRP contribution, which would line up with the fact that we got a little drop this week in the corporation total asset. But all in all, we're not hurting at all. I mean, we're pretty healthy, able to fuel our like over a month we're risk positive usually, even though we're like nowhere near rich as a big alliance. We're a mid-size, small to mid-size group, but whatever. So that's pretty much it. Sorry if my voice sounded a little weird. It's a little later than usual. We had a long fleet before, so I'm recording this a little bit later than usual. Anyway, so that's it for the monetary part. HR. You can see that we are now at 475 members, so we did get 4 new recruits this week. So all in all, you can see that we get new pilot. They are actively playing, but it is summer, so our online membership is people just don't play as long. They don't get in fight, but we do get more member. We do have people online, like even tonight it's like past midnight Eastern time, and we still have 13 people online. So we do have people always logging in, but it is summer, and if I want like Eve Tranquility, if you go in the server status of here, I mean, it's the first time on a 1 week average that you get 18K. So the number have been going down, like peak of 23, so I mean, you see that it is, we're getting into a phase where it's summertime. People are, I don't know if Diablo Immortal is influencing some people either, but whatever. I mean, for us, we still have people online, we still have people in comm, we still have people in fleet, as you will see. So I'm not too worried about it, but I do expect people to be more in like play more casually during the summer. But it's true from the opponent, the people we're fighting to. So it even out in the end, the way I see it. So that's pretty much it for HR. Again, I am talking with a few corporations, but nothing hard has come from it yet. WOMP is recruiting. We're trying to increase our number, trying to increase our fleet size to be able to do more stuff on our own, contribute more to the coalition. So again, if you're interested, just reach out and we will talk with you. Now, military, well, catch where we live is pretty stable. So what we do is we look at our neighbor. Imperium had pulled away from the front line, so there is a big push by Pappy, Horde plus Tire plus Fraternity, which had actually at some point taken HY, but as this has been retaken by Dracarys. So and Horde is still have a sig that is staged here in oops, not curse. Here in Imencia, here in XVV. So they are pushing back. This whole constellation was taken by Dracarys, and now there is a pushback to take it by Pappy. So it looked like they're assigning it to Black Rose. I don't know what's their logic behind or anything, because Black Rose already have all these space here. So you got corporation that have less active member than WOMP that have 3 constellation. Again, must be a chore to maintain that, and you can see it that the ADM are, if you compare the ADM here compared to the ADM in Catch, you can see that there's a big difference at level. Because at some point, if you're spreading your pilot on over too many systems, then it become like you're just spending all your time maintaining ADM. I think that it's better to build tall than to build wide. So you want to be sure that you use your system, that you get the space you want. But some people have, I don't know, maybe they want to install renter or something, whatever. They do what they want, so not my problem at that point. But that's pretty much on the war side. We did have a few fight that were interesting this week. One of them, we joined with Sigma to try to hit an objective that we ended up not hitting because the enemy overformed us. So we went to play with Tire, and we started shooting the 3L3 Athenor, which is just next door to us. So basically, like typical doorbell fight. They do it to us often enough, so we return the favor, but we don't do that like too often. And they did form up with their blingy stuff, so they took out the Nightmare and the Loki, and they engaged the Serb that we had on grid. Which at that point we're not gonna fight the Nightmare and Serbs. That's kind of dumb. But they decided to block the 3L3 gate to keep us from going back home. And when we noticed that, they were sitting on 0 at the gate. And Sigma wasn't formed with us, so we were formed with Hiroko. So what we did is we basically ping around in system and check to see if they would eventually let us leave, but they didn't. But at the same time, Sigma was forming with Paladin, and they drop on the Nightmare fleet from the other side of the gate, and they managed to kill one Nightmare before they warp off. So they were actually pretty quick to bug off after that, but still, overall was a decent fight for us. Again, not the fight that we started. We started with. We basically went for a small brawl with Serbs, and we ended up doing a Paladin again, Marauder against Nightmare fight, but. So these things happen, so it was an interesting fight. Then a little bit later during the week, Arcadios came and tried to ref. I think they had a fleet somewhere else, and they didn't they didn't get what they want, so he did his usual thing of coming to ref jump bridges. He had more people than us form, so he managed to ref 3 jump bridges in our space. That was Wednesday night, I think. So on Tuesday, we did form up, and we had a pretty good fleet. And from everything that we saw, we expected the enemy to be very numerous, because Arcadios had bad phone, well, Tired had bad phone, bad touch, that are staying in catch, dock worker, and out of the blue, and what's the other one? Deepwater Hooligan. So they had 4 other corp assisting them, plus the fire and tire. So a total, they had like about 180 Serbs or something, but wrecking crew formed hard, because we knew like spies, both sides have spies in their alliance. We see ping and everything. So we did saw the amount of ping, that the amount of bat phone that worked. So they rage ping hard to form, and we ping back. But we didn't bat phone anybody, so it was an in-house form from wrecking crew. But I think we had like more than 150 in fleet, with almost 100 Typhoon. So Arcadios did what he typically does when the odds aren't that much, even though that was pretty much a fair fight, because they had Mercurial, they had Nightmare, they had their bling stuff and everything, but they chose not to engage. So at some point we were sitting on an NC Blacks, I think it was ZX, the ZX one. Initially, the first one that they ref was the GGO one. So we that one repaired. They didn't engage. Then we went to protect that one, and while we were protecting that one, they had one of their fleet, like their allies, were waiting for us in system here, while Arcadios was reffing the QTAC S1. Because he really does like to, like, we were joking around that we're going to rename our ship NC Blacks and Athenor, so maybe he'll start to engage us, but whatever. So anyway, they managed to ref that station, and then they left. No, actually it was an Athenor that they shot. It was an Athenor that is still ref. And then he came a little earlier today to ref the NC Blacks in QTACS. And then he did show up to fight today. They had about 40 in fleet, and we had about 100. Again, it's one of our structure getting ref, so we're pinging internally. We're getting ready to fight. So they didn't have the number to engage us. So they basically started blue balling us, but then we kind of got into a mess ourselves, because when that structure was ref, I didn't have enough fuel in it to re-online it again right away. And while we were waiting for to leave, on our internal comm, we noticed that there was a structure anchoring nearby, an hostile structure, so that we basically said, okay, we got a target of opportunity. So instead of just staying with the fleet and putting the thing back online, we signed out and we went to try and grab the other structure, but we didn't arrive in time to anchor it. And during that time, Arcadios, since our fleet was left, he reformed and started trying to shoot the NC Blacks again, which I hadn't online because it didn't have fuel. But since we didn't start the fight, we signed back in, and it led to this little weird battle where we had definitely a bigger number, but we were in slow Typhoon, and Arcadios did this typical thing of he just like zip around the system and warping and everything, like no direct fight, but just warp, trying to pick fat kid, and he typically does that, I think, to try to get ISK positive on the BR, but whatever. So he did his thing, and at one point we did manage to catch him we did manage to probe him and warp on his group and catch the monitor and catch a few claymore and stuff like that. So we did manage to take a chunk out of his fleet, but at the same time, he was pinging the NCDLEX whenever it would repair. He would just send a dictator, shoot a few bulletins to restart the repair cycle, and you cannot unline it when it's like this. So I had to refuel it with a hostile fleet in system, which I did, and the refueling was okay, the unlining was okay, and then I exited the structure, but I forgot to take myself off of the fleet warp. And so as soon as I exited the NCDLEX, the FC was warping the fleet to try to catch him on grid. And I was warped in my pod, and the occutor that I used to fuel it stayed on grid. So I lost that occutor because they rewarped there and they managed to shut the occutor. And then we continued to fly around a little bit and shoot people. So all in all, if I look, we did manage to catch a few people. I did lose my occutor. We were pretty ISK positive on that entire fight. So we killed like 4.3 billion and lost 2.6. Again, what they did manage to kill was that occutor and a few tackles and stuff like that. Again, not necessarily the most interesting fight because it's just like kitey bullshit at the fleet level, but it is what it is. And that fight nearly didn't happen because initially he blue balled us on the initial timer, and he waited for our fleet to get away from the system to actually shoot the structure when there was nobody. But it is what it is. So anyway, that was another big fight that we had this week. So that's pretty much what happened during the week. Aside from that, me personally, I'm working on my missile skill, and the rest pretty standard week. We are getting into again, like, summer mindset. People are still playing, we're still chatting on comm, we still have Womp After Dark when we're talking all night about various adult subject, but yeah, no, whatever. So we're still having fun, but a little more. I think that the entire game is switching into a summer mode where people are a little more casual. But still, we do manage when we need to ping. Like the other day, we did manage to get like a significant chunk of people, enough that ARC doesn't want to engage. So anyway, that's all for this week. Hope you guys enjoy. If you had any question, just ask them. Any comment, you're always welcome. And see you guys next week. Bye bye.